So how do you revise a rapid prototype? The main purpose of prototyping is to review and revise the media as a team. When you make a prototype, you assume this is not a finished product, and you're going to go back, you're going to revise it, you're going to edit it. When you realize that, you have to remember to have a really open mind. Everyone on the team is supposed to be critical. It's supposed to be a conversation where you look and pick holes in what you've just done. It has to be a safe place to comment. You have to be able to say, that shot didn't look right, or I don't like where you put that element on the screen, or any of those other things. It has to be safe. You have to openly evaluate the suggestions, try out your ideas, and start your next prototype. Thick skin. It's important in this kind of a process. Often the designer is looking over the shoulder of the programmer or of the people taking the photography and just making suggestions even along the way. It can be a very rapid type of a process. Sometimes you're making 2 or 3 small changes to a prototype in a matter of a couple of hours, sending it off to a subject matter expert so they can review it to make sure it's still realistic, and then come back to you for more revisions and more feedback. You have to question, above all, if what you're building actually meets the learning objectives. That's the point of instructional design. If what you're doing or what you do with, in this case, with the mineral lab doesn't mimic or doesn't teach what the in-person lab would do, then why create it? Why build it in the way that you're going? You need to make sure that it fits the needs of the students. It's very easy, if you don't do that, to have the scope of your project balloon beyond what you would like to do. In fact, in part of this project it did. We ended up, in part of the geology project, we ended up taking many more photos than we needed. We ended up revising things. We ended up putting new tests on. There are a lot of things that we had to do throughout this process to make sure it met the objectives and to not go overboard on it.
We finished our first prototype, and it was complete with all the elements on the screen were draggable. We were using unedited video footage for our first prototype. We hadn't gone in and done a lot of the chroma key or a lot of the green screen work yet. We just were using unedited video footage. We just wanted to be sure that the media that we were going to use was going to work. Once we had these things in place, we were able to further refine the project. We were able to add a pedagogical agent. There's a little guy on the screen, and he's able to help the students to use the lab, gives them instructions, just-in-time instructions, things like that. We were able to add the link for viewing additional sample information. So when you click on the link, you have the piece of notebook that slides out. We're able to add tools and functionality to the tool set on the right-hand side of the screen. We added tools for a magnified view, and we were able to further refine some of the tools that we were using. And we were able to add additional scale sample information to the 360-degree window as well. So when the student is looking at the 360-degree window, they can see the size and the scale of the rock that they're looking at. These changes help the lab to feel more complete. As each new iteration that we did, what it did is it added needed functionality. It made us feel like that we were getting closer to what a student would be experiencing in real life. Each decision was informed by the previous prototype. So as we made changes, as we worked on these prototypes, we were able to come to new decision points based on the work that we had done. And in some cases, these prototypes were literally done within hours of each other. It was very rapid. Having understood the requirements from the beginning of the process, clear through the end, really helped us to make the most informed decisions possible with this lab. These informed decisions helped us in the rapid prototype development, which ultimately led to a successful implementation of the lab in the course.
So as you can see through all of the changes that we've made over time or throughout the rapid prototyping process, everything needed to point back to the objectives. When you look back at the objectives, they needed to know what size the rock was, so we needed to add in the scale. We needed to see more clearly the cleavage, the fracture, all of those sorts of things. That was part of the objectives, and our revisions through the prototype helped us to get closer to that. That's the point. It's faster often, and for a complex project especially, than traditional instructional design, and allows you to maintain focus, avoid scope creep as you finish off a project, and just make it shine in the end and make the end users really happy with it.